Hi guys, you know what? I look at the black manosphere today and I can tell you something. It's kind of reminds me of this Charles Dickens novel called A Tale of Two Cities, and it starts out like this. I'll just start with the starting. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. And what was happening was that it was just talking about the English Channel separated England from France, and they were having two completely different things happening. And that can explain the manosphere right now. Right now, in the lead, you have, Kevin Samuels, who basically has taken his averages at best and, his ability to have black women come up and he counsels them and as Obsidian says, when brother Kevin puts them in their place, black men love it and they enjoy the show and all of that. He kind of says a lot of stuff about improving yourself and leveling up, but that's not the part that interests a lot of people. They are very interested in him humbling women, but they don't understand the reason why women actually are attracted to coming to him is because he's a tall, handsome man who seems like he has substance. And what he has been doing is using that image, and he does say that he's an image consultant, and you've seen him interview with Nicki Minaj. He's in Future's video, and recently we saw him with this millionaire from the Shark Tank, Daymond, and this is what he's doing. So you can see that he's definitely trying to go mainstream. 1.3 million subscribers, so he's definitely on his way. So I would say this is the best of times. And this reminds me of, and I'll date myself by saying this, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, with Robin Leach. That's where I think Kevin is trying to head to. But there's another part of the manosphere, and this is where we're saying Kevin is having the best of time, but there's the worst of times. And there are two sets of people having the worst of times. One, I'll call them the crabs in the barrel, and the other I will call them, I'll just say Fresh and Fit and Tommy Sotomayor, and we'll talk about both sets. So let's talk about the crab in the barrels. Now that Kevin Samuels is going mainstream, there are the hood types, the Pookie wannabes, who definitely are the ones that are saying, hey, now all of a sudden Kevin is not, he ain't ish and all of that stuff, the regular stuff. And they are angry for some reason. First they're angry that he didn't put Nicki Minaj in their place. Then they got angry that Obsidian was making fun of them, and now they're in a tirade. And one thing I always say to myself, why is it that in the hood black men don't open up businesses? You notice it, like they don't open up 7-Elevens or corner stores. They rarely do it. And one of the reasons is, if that business becomes successful, then they have all these other dudes who will be very upset by that success, and they will try to pull them down. So a lot of people try to have success outside the hood and outside of the hood mentality. So I can understand what's happening now, and these people are like taking like a fish to water. A fish knows how to swim, and in my country, original country, I'm from Jamaica, to them bad mind is just a way of life. Bad mind, they're just bad minded, and they definitely have a crab in the barrel mentality, and they can't help themselves for that. They can't see success and celebrate success. They grow up in a place where they see one pie and they see someone having a bigger share, and they're willing to fight over that share, but they don't think, hey, why not bake more pies? So that scarcity mindset has kept down our people for so long, and they can't help it. That's just the way they're going to be. But you know what, I'm happy that Kevin is going mainstream and having success. As I said, When he goes to mainstream, his message will have to moderate. The very way that he spoke to Nicki Minaj, he'll have to speak to anybody on the mainstream stage, because mainstream is just not going to have people, being disrespected. So, let him have his success and all of that stuff. Now that we're talking about Kevin and we're talking about the crabs in the barrel, let's talk a little bit about Fresh and Fit and Tommy Sotomayor. I first heard Tommy probably back in 2014, 2015, and I found what I was hearing very disturbing. Talking about weaves, talking about black women being bald, and I found that type of content did not benefit anyone, and I couldn't listen to it. I can tell you, I've never listened to more than 2 minutes straight, and I may have visited his channel twice in the last 7 to 8 years, because I don't find pleasure in hearing someone denigrate anyone else. I don't find pleasure in that, and so I did not like his channel. I actually, listening to him just for those 2 minutes sent me to Chrissy, and I listened to Chrissy for a while, and I have my thoughts on Chrissy, but let me tell you something. Whatever she's doing, I think that she definitely is trying to support darker skinned women, and that's what she's trying to do, and I can't see where she's trying to tear down anyone. So I don't have an issue with Chrissy and that. And from listening to Chrissy, I started to listen to Cynthia G and all that stuff, and that's how I really got my entrance into understanding this space a little more. Now, getting back to Tommy, I hadn't heard anything about him for years, and then Fresh and Fit came on the scene, and I thought that Fresh and Fit, I want to see them have success, definitely, no doubt about that, but I think that it's a bit gimmicky to have this thing where you're putting women in their place and kicking them off the show, and I don't know how, if that can last long. And if I go way back, and I'll date myself again, there was Jerry Springer, and people know Jerry Springer. They would fight on the show, and it became it was a spectacle every day. And I remember, this is so many years ago, I was on vacation. I think it was on summer vacation, and this was like 20 years ago, and I was watching a little bit of Jerry Springer, and after watching 2 days of it was monotonous, and it was the same thing, some argument, someone throwing another person off. Now I'm seeing this type of thing being brought to YouTube, and the problem, I think, is Jerry Springer had a big studio, lots of security, and they were able to protect people. I don't think Fresh and Fit has that security. I would wonder about insurance and all of that stuff, because I don't know. I think they're doing something very dangerous with what they're going on with, because you never know. And my thought is, putting on someone like Tommy Sotomayor is, I don't know if you want to do that, because when I didn't watch the show, because hearing that he was on, I did not want to watch it. I don't watch any time he's on it, but when I got up this morning, I saw, whoa, something bad happened, which you would expect. And I saw that interaction that occurred. Like, I literally saw the interaction. I said to myself, I'm not going to take up for the woman, because, I thought she was rambunctious, and I thought that she is a poor representation of a black woman, and it's sad that people would think that that's how black women normally behave. But what I saw him doing as a man, and I always think as a man, you should have a little bit of stature and composure. He was not behaving like a man. He was tapping into his feminine energy. He was arguing. He was throwing barbs. And when she blew up and she hit him, what I noticed was that he wanted to lunge to fight her. And I said to myself, I could remember as a child, growing up, I have a younger sister. My sister and I fought one time, and my mother came home and she gave me a fine whipping. And she said to me, you should never hit women. And you know that learning that back at that age, you never understood why, but you do remember the whipping and you do understand that you must not do it. But as you got older, you figured out it's natural. Men are stronger than women in general. They're generally, I mean, I believe that a 150-pound man is even stronger than a 250-pound woman. I just believe that. And what my concern is, why would he want to fight a woman? And even before that, why would he? And I understand he's a shock jock and that, but why is he like, you know, speaking to women in this manner? And when you think of all of that, all of this is problematic. And I think that, you know, as we look at, you know, Fresh and Fit and the direction that they're going in, there's nothing good that's going to come of this. I mean, you know, people, is this the type of entertainment that people want? I do understand that with the manosphere, if the manosphere spends, you know, 50% of its time talking about self-improvement, people will fall asleep. I think it's, you know, there needs to be a balance, you know, maybe 20% talking about self-improvement and 80% entertainment. But is this the type of entertainment that, you know, they should be having? And something they need to think about, because I don't find pleasure in that. And I think that going viral, having two people fight each other, that's just not a good look. And I hope that they rethink this model. And you know, it's you look at the black manosphere, and as I said, a tale of two cities. And when you look at it, you have basically one side people going mainstream, and the other side others who are fighting like crabs in the barrel, and another set who are trying to be the modern day Jerry Springer. You know, it's sad. It's very sad when you look at that negative side. And I hope that the people understand that, especially the crabs, that you can grow the pie. You don't have to fight over the single pie. And I hope with Fresh and Fit, they look at their business model and find something better than what they're doing now. That's not a good look, and that's not sustainable. They have to find an avenue to entertain without demeaning. And Tommy Sotomayor, trust me, bad choice. Thank you, guys.